بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أنا الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. Today's talk has been entitled Dua. When we talk about the dua is an ibadah from the most important ibadat of al-Islam. And I believe in a masjid like this, and in every masjid, there should be a class about dua, the fiqh of dua, how to make dua. The greatest surah of the Quran is Surah Al-Fatiha, and it is a dua. And that's why at the end of it, we say Ameen. It's the greatest surah of the Quran, as the Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It's the 7 oft repeated verses that every prayer that you make, you're going to have Surah Al-Fatiha in that prayer. Whether it's a wajib prayer, a sunnah prayer, a prayer where you just stand up like janazah, or a prayer like istisqa, whatever prayer you're going to do in al-Islam, you're going to read Surah Al-Fatiha. It is the greatest surah of the Quran. And the Prophet described it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as a ruqya. A ruqya. I don't have the time to get into why he called it the ruqya, but unfortunately in our community, the ayn is there, the sihr is there, the jinn is there. If you memorize Surah Al-Fatiha, it is the best surah of the Quran to deal with a sihr and the ayn. And everyone memorized it, even the new revert. But we don't want to read it for ourselves on our sick. We want to go and ask the Iraqi, the Mulvi Sahib, the Imam, someone else. Read Surah Al-Fatiha on those people who are sick. It is a tremendously important surah. Anyway, Al-Shahidu min al-Kalam, Surah Al-Fatiha is a dua. Allah Ta'ala mentioned, and what the brother read, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Ya Muhammad, if my slaves call on me, tell them I'm close. Don't go to the Mulvi Sahib. Don't go to the Imam. Don't go to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam or to some dead person in the grave. The authentic hadith, the Nabi mentioned sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whoever doesn't make dua to me, Allah will be angry with you. And that's because all of you, I don't know the vast majority, I don't know your names, but I say, wallahi billahi tallahi, there's not a single person sitting here except that he has problems, mashakil, drama. Everybody here, without any exception. Not a single person escapes that rule. Some of us are not as stressed out as others are. Some people, they haven't paid their rent, they didn't pay their mortgage. The, what do you call those guys who come to your house? The bailiffs. They're about to come to his house. Marital issues, mental issues, social issues, financial issues. Everybody here. And the dua is the weapon of a Muslim. So the Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, man la yadullah yaghdabullah alayhi. Whoever doesn't make dua to Allah, Allah is angry with him. Why? Clear, doesn't need any explanation. As the Quran said, Antumul fuqara'u ila Allah wallahu ghaniyyun 'anil 'alamin. You people are poor. You people are in need. I don't care who has money in this masjid. Someone from amongst us has the most money. Someone from amongst us has the ability to get the most money if he needed help. He can go to certain people. I don't care who you are. You need to make dua to Allah. So when you don't make dua and you got problems, Allah becomes angry. What's wrong with you? You don't make dua. We have children who are teenagers. It's tough dealing with these kids. Generation Z. It's tough dealing with them. The father can become sick and he has a child who is not living with him, and the child doesn't even call to say, Abi, how are you doing? His kids hate him. They hate him. And he doesn't make dua. So there are many examples. The point here is, whoever doesn't make dua to Allah Azza wa Jalla, Allah is angry with you. And that's usually the case with most people, because most people are from the ghafilin. And one of the sicknesses that people suffer from who come to the masjid is they suffer from al-ghurur. Al-ghurur. I'm going to say it, you say it. Ghurur. Ghurur. Ghurur means you are super impressed with yourself because you have a beard, because you have niqab, because you're Salafi, because you're from Ahlul Hadith. You don't have khurafat. You come to the masjid. You could be Brailwi Deobandi practicing. Ghurur is to look at yourself as being wow and to look down on other people. That's a sickness. You have ghurur and you're not making dua to Allah in a way that you need to make dua to Allah, which shows you the reality of your salafiyah. You're walking around looking down on people. What's wrong with you? It's a sickness. Anyway, to get into the topic, I want to mention something to you about what Allah mentioned about a dua. And a lot could be mentioned, but I don't want to get into all of that. I want to get into a particular dua that I want to encourage you brothers to memorize, inshallah azza wa jalla. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ عَنْ عِبَادَتِي سَيَدْخُلُونَ جَهَنَّمَ دَاخِرِينَ. So the first ayat that the young brother said, and your Lord said, if my slaves call on me, Ya Muhammad, tell them I'm close. Don't go to anybody except to Allah directly. What kind of religion you want? Jew, Christian? You a Sikh? Hindu? What's wrong with you? You can go directly to Allah Azza wa Jalla. No matter what the sin is that you've done or whatever the need is, you go and tell other people for. This other ayat that I just mentioned, he said, Ya Muhammad, if my slaves call on me, Allah said, call on me and I'll answer your prayer. Anyone who is mustakbir, he's arrogant, and he doesn't call on me, he will enter into the hellfire from those who will be low and debased. If you came to me and you asked me, Abu Usamah, can I borrow 100 pounds, 200 pounds, 500 pounds? I may say yes, I may say no. I may say yes and give it to you and then talk about you after that. I may say no and don't give it to you and talk about you after that. That's how most people are. But when you go to Allah Ta'ala, you don't have those issues. He is al-Ghani. He has the ability, is qadir ala kulli shay. He doesn't play around. You don't have to worry about all of that kalam farik when you go directly to Allah. So I want to first and foremost encourage all of you to get serious as it relates to making dua to Allah Azza wa Jalla. The kid, he wants to pass his exam, and instead of making dua to Allah and working and studying, he goes and pays someone 200, 300, 400, 500 pounds to make dua for him. What kind of stuff is that? What kind of stuff is that? So the dua that I want to deal with, and there's a lot to say. I don't even want to get into the importance of the dua, how to make dua, when's the best time to make dua, whose dua is accepted, whose dua is not accepted. There's a lot to talk about in the issue, but I don't have time for all of that. I want to encourage you brothers to learn a dua that if I was a betting man, I would bet over 90% of us don't know this dua. And that's what it is. It's what we're dealing with. So every person who comes here and talks before the community in this mic, gets on the microphone, the minbar, he has to read the room. Our community is in a situation where this is a very tough time right now. The Prophet described what we're living as, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sanawat khadda'at. These are the years of deceit. Don't believe anybody. This is the year of lying. The terrain is being set for the Dajjal to come out. And what is the Dajjal going to say? He's going to make the biggest lie. وَمَنْ أَظْلُمُ مِنْ افْتَرَى عَلَى اللَّهِ كَذِبًا. Who is worse than lying? There are many levels of lying, but who's worse than the one who lies on Allah? That's the worst lie. A Dajjal is going to say, I'm your Lord. And there will be people who will believe him. Although our religion is the religion of at-Tawheed. Our religion is not the religion of Christianity, Judaism, Sikhism, Hinduism. This is a religion of Tawheed. And yet, a lot of us, especially where you guys come from, we believe in Allah's Nabi is Hazim Nazir. Allah's Nabi didn't die. Allah's Nabi Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam knows the ilm al-ghayb. When a Dajjal comes out, people in this room, may Allah protect us, say Ameen. People in this room are going to say, you are Allah. Because he's going to put himself in a picture of your mother, your father who died, that you loved, your wife who died. And he's going to say, believe him, he is your Lord. So what's the point? These are years of deceit. Internet, deceit. Social media, deceit. Your friend, deceit. Your wife, deceit. Your kids, deceit. CNN, all of this, BBC, deceit. I want to ask you, I don't want to make this political, but the way the BBC that we have to pay for, are they covering the situation in Palestine with truthfulness and reality? Yes or no? It's Kevin. It's a lie. And we have to pay for that nonsense. But it's just not BBC. Your friend. One of the du'as of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min khalil aynahu tarani wa qalbuhu yar'ani. Allah, I seek refuge in you from a friend. His eye sees me, but his heart despises me. I got a friend, he's not my friend, stabbing me in my back. I get a divorce, he's happy. My kid gets in trouble, he's happy. Anything he hears that I did, anything, I get a new car, he's not happy. Rasulullah used to seek refuge in Allah from that khalil. And he doesn't even know. Your friend is an enemy. Now, I don't want anyone who came with his friend to look at his friend like this right now, like that. I'm not saying your friend, but that's many people's situation. He's in his house with his wife, and she is an enemy to him. Anyway, stay focused, inshallah. This is a dua that I want you guys to memorize. Yusuf, Saeed, I'll bet you 100 pounds. 100 pounds. The vast majority don't know this dua. And it is the ashmal, ajma', most protective dua that you can memorize from the sunnah. And it only takes you 30 minutes. Wallahi. 30 minutes. So I don't know how a father doesn't take the time out to memorize his dua. A Muslim doesn't take to memorize his dua. Anybody who's living, what's wrong with us? So this dua comes to us as a result of one of the tabi'een who wanted to know. So he asked one of the ulama from the companions, tell me about the time where the jinn came to harm the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya Abdurrahman ibn Khambash radiyallahu anhu. I heard, I wasn't there. I'm not from the students of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm from the people who learn from the tabi'in, from the companions. I wasn't there. Tell me about the incident where the jinn tried to destroy and attack and harm and hurt the Nabi. Tell me about that. He said, okay, I'll tell you. You weren't there. He said, one time, there were some jinns of Madinah who came down from all of the Ash'ab and the Awdiya, all of the mountains and all of the valleys of Mecca. They all came together. Now, there was a time where the human beings came together to extinguish the light of Islam. And that's been mentioned to us in Surah Al-Ahzab. Al-Ahzab, the Confederates, the Hizb. All of the Kuffar of Quraysh and the Arabian Peninsula came together to extinguish the Dawah of Islam when it was in its infantile stages. All of them came. And Allah Ta'ala vanquished them. I don't have time to go into that subject. الذين إذا قال لهم الناس إن الناس قد جمعوا لكم فاخشوهم. When all of them came together, the kuffar went to Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali and said, look, all of the people against you, they're going to get you. So be afraid of them. Allah said, they didn't get scared. فَزَادَهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَقَالُوا حَسْبُنَا اللَّهُ وَنِعْمَ الْوَكِيلُ. When they heard that, it just increased them in iman. Because this is what the Prophet told them that was going to happen. These people are going to try to destroy Islam. They didn't get scared, the imam who starts saying LGBT is okay. Live and let live. He doesn't do that. He says LGBT is haram. It's a kabira from the kaba'ir. Are we going to hurt those people? We're going to hurt those people. But you want to know my position in it? It's haram. Just like that. We don't need admins. We don't need imams. We don't need du'at who are trying to be politically correct. You can't call a spade a spade. Hazar nazir is haram. Ilm al-ghayb, the Prophet named that haram. All of that is haram. When those companions heard that, it increased them in iman. And they made a dhikr, a dua. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. How many Muslims said that? When was the last time you said that? They were putting Ibrahim in the fire so that he could get burnt. He said, Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. And it didn't hurt him. When's the last time you said that? Ya akhi Rafi'. When's the last time you said that? Hasbi Allah wa ni'mal wakil. They can't hurt you if Allah doesn't want it to happen. So it happened with Bani Adam. They came together to get the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But this man wants to know what happened with the jinn. He said all of the jinn of Mecca, all of them, they came down from the mountains and the byways and valleys and highways of Mecca. And they had fire, some of them, to burn the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the Prophet saw them coming, he said Rasulullah was terrified, petrified. He was afraid. Now you listen to what I'm about to tell you right now, especially young people. If you know someone, or you're around someone, or you are a person who you're walking around talking about, I'm not scared of nothing. I'm not scared of anyone. Then something's wrong with you. You better get your head checked. Because being afraid is a mechanism that Allah put inside of us to survive. You're talking about you're not afraid of anything. The Nabi was afraid, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were coming to burn him. We've had in this city of Manchester, young people went over to ISIS and all of this. I'm not afraid of, what are you talking about? You're not afraid of anything. Walking down the street with your wife and there are 5 skinheads coming your way on the same side of the street and you don't have enough common sense to cross the street because you have your wife. And also if you were by yourself, I'm not scared of nothing. La hawla wa la quwwata. What are you talking about, man? You better cross the street so that you can live to see another day. What's wrong with you? The Prophet was afraid, not afraid, petrified, terrified, because these jinn are coming to burn him. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now listen, as it relates to Bani Adam, Allah mentioned in the Quran, pay attention to this ayat. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًّا شَيَاطِينَ الْإِنسِ وَالْجِنِّ. يوحي بعضهم إلى بعض زخرف القول غرورا ولو شاء ربك ما فعلوه فذرهم وما يفترون. Listen to this ayah. The 6 arkan of al-Iman. We believe in Allah, the Malaika, the books, His messengers, Yawm al-Qiyamah, and the Qadr. Good of it and the bad of it. All 6 of them have details to it. Believing in Allah has details. It's not, I believe in Allah, and then you say Rasulullah is Hazal Nazar. Rasulullah didn't die. Rasulullah knows the ilm al-ghayb. You don't believe in Allah. You don't believe in Allah. All 6 of them have details. We believe in the prophets and the messengers. One of the many things we believe about the prophets and the messengers is this ayah. Allah said, we have made for every Nabi and every Rasul, every one of them, we made an enemy to him from the shayateen of the ins and shayateen from the jinn. So every prophet and messenger had enemies. Allah said, those shayateen, they talk to each other and they make nice kalam. That's not true. He's crazy. He wants to get your money. He's not really true. He's not sincere. They do that. Shayateen al-ins wal jinn. Allah said, if your Lord wanted to, they wouldn't have never did that. If Allah sha'a, He would have told everybody to believe. With His kalimat al-kawniyah. I want you to say after me, kalimat kawniyah. Kalimat kawniyah. His universal words. إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. That's the kalimat al-kawniyah. If Allah wants something, He says, be, and it is. He could have made it that all of the Bani Adam believed in the prophets and the messengers. But He allowed some to believe and others not to believe. My mother, my father haven't believed. Yusuf's parents haven't believed. We make dua that Allah guides them. We try to give them dawah, but they haven't believed yet. So every Nabi, he has enemies from mankind. As it relates to Al-Mustafa, Al-Mujtaba, Abu Qasim, Muhammad, Ahmed, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, we understand. The battle of Al-Ahzab, the battle of Badr, the battle of Uhud, the battle of Bani Mustaliq, when he went to Ta'if and the kids threw rocks at him, hit him in his head, broke his skin all up, he was bleeding, blood was in his shoes. Those are the enemies of the shayateen from the ins. The Jews, they invited him, come to our house, we want a negotiation. They agreed, we're going to throw a bow down his head when he comes to the door and crush him and kill him. Jibril came and told him. He didn't know because he doesn't know the ilm al-ghayb. Jibril came and said, don't go. They made a conspiracy. They're going to drop a bow on you. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was eating with his companions after the Jew lady invited him. And they were eating the lahm, the lamb that was cooked. Woke up after being cooked and said, Ya Muhammad, don't eat me, I have poison in it. Allah yuhyi wa yumit. It's Allah, not white people. It's not white people. We walking around inferior, walking around looking at ourselves as second-class citizens. See, that lamb said, I'm poisoned. Rasulullah said, stop eating. But by that time, his companions ate and they started falling down dead. Rasulullah said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was dying, I still feel the pain and the anguish of the poison ram that the Jewish lady gave us. He's stronger than the other companions. He's stronger than them, so it didn't kill him. But to the day he died, he felt the pain, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What's the point? The point is, the shayateen of the ins, they were trying to destroy him. We understand that. I see a human being, I look at him, I say, I could smell fear from him. I could look at his eyes. I'm going to crack his head open. If he's my enemy, I'm going to size him up. I'm bigger than him. I'm stronger than him. The way he looks, I think I'm going to deal with him. He's a human being. I may be right, I may be wrong, but he's a human being and he's my enemy. How do I deal with a jinn? The jinn can disappear. The jinn can fly into the ground. He can fly up in the sky. He could take a form of something else around you. How are you going to deal with that? How? Allah mentioned in the Quran about Iblis, إِنَّهُ يَرَاكُمْ هُوَ وَقَبِيلُهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا تَرَوْنَهُمْ. Verily, Iblis and his Ansar, his tribe, his helper, they see you from where you don't see them. They're right here looking at you. You don't see them. How are you going to deal with that enemy? So this companion, Abdurrahman ibn Khanshab, he said, yeah, all of those jinn came down and some of them had fires and they came to Prophet Muhammad to burn him. Rasulullah became petrified, terrified, not scared and nervous, petrified. Now I want to mention this again. If you're around someone who doesn't have fear of anything, hey, cut that cat off. Get a new friend, because he's going to destroy you. As for the fear that you may have, and everybody has fear. I have social anxiety. I have to do a dissertation for my master's degree, my PhD, my bachelor's. You got to get over that fear, man. You LGBT, what's wrong with you? You got to get over that fear and come and talk and deliver your thing. You got relatives. You got to stand up for yourself and get over that fear. You got to get over that fear. Everybody has challenges that make you afraid. You got to get over that. But I'm talking about this issue of the mabda. Some people talking about they don't have no fear. No, we fear Allah and Allah, like that ayah said. He said, Allah Ta'ala said, La takhshawhum wakhshawni in kuntum mu'minin. Don't be afraid of them, but be afraid of me if you're truly a believer. 25 people going to come and deal with me and they at my house and I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm nervous. But my baby's in that house. I got to go deal with it in the best way possible, knowing nothing's going to hurt me or harm me but what Allah decreed. Anyway, let's move forward. He said that all of those jinn, they came to attack him and he became afraid. And then Allah sent down Jibreel. Listen to me once again. The ayah said, "Lo sha'a rabbuka ma fa'aluhu, fadharhum wa ma yaftarun." Allah sent these enemies, and if Allah wanted your Lord, they wouldn't have never disbelieved. Allah could have said kun, but He didn't. He didn't say that. And in this issue, Allah could have just said kun and destroyed all of those jinn, but He didn't. He taught us a lesson. The lessons that I'm going to share with you today, inshallah. Allah sent Jibreel down. Allah didn't have to do that. He sent Jibreel down to teach us. Jibreel came down and said, Ya Muhammad, qul. Ya Muhammad, say it. Rasulullah said, say what? Why didn't the Nabi know what to say? Because he doesn't know the ilm al-ghayb. It's this stuff our community is upon. He knows the ilm al-ghayb. Make a takdeeb of the Quran and the Sunnah. Right here, Jibreel said, Iqra. He said, what should I read? Iqra. What should I read? Iqra. What should I read? Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaqa. He doesn't know what to read. He doesn't know how to read. Because he doesn't know the ilm al-ghayb. And we're going to swear some of these Maulvi Saabs who should be taken off of the mimbars, keeping us backwards and confused and apologetic. These dawahs and this stuff people are on. He said, Muhammad, say it. He said, what should I say? I don't want to move too fast on this point because this is a serious point from where you guys come from. If my mother accepted Islam, she's not going to have a hiccup on this point. Ya ummi, ma, listen. Only Allah knows the ilm al-ghayb. Ma, you a new Muslim? Allah said in the Quran to the Nabi, قُلْ مَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ الْغَيْبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. No one knows the unseen. No one in the heavens or the earth knows the unseen except Allah. No jinn, no angel, no Nabi, no one. My mother's going to say, okay, I got it. But when you are born and you raised in that environment, it's hard for people not to accept that. Difficult, hard. Allah mentioned another ayat in the Quran telling the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Ma ya'lamu janud rabbika illa huwa." No one knows the soldiers of your Lord except Allah. You don't know the soldiers of Allah, ya Muhammad, if Allah didn't tell you about them. Ilm al-ghayb. Allah told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to tell the people, if he knew the ghayb, lastakthartu min al-khayr. If I knew the unseen, no evil would have touched me. None. I'm going out for the battle of Badr to fight the kuffar of Quraysh. I know the unseen. I'm going to say, uncle, Hamza, don't come. You're going to die today. And I need you later on. Don't come. He knows ilm al-ghayb and let his uncle come. Come on, man. What kind of khurafi deen is that? Anyway, say, Muhammad, what should I say? And this is the dua. This is the dua. Jibril say to the Allah, make this dua. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات التي لا يجاوزهن بر ولا فاجر من شر ما خلق وذرأ وبرأ ومن شر ما ينزل من السماء ومن شر ما يعرج فيها ومن شر ما ذرأ في الأرض ومن شر ما يخرج منها ومن شر فتن الليل والنهار ومن شر كل طارق إلا طارق يطرق بخير يا رحمن. Anybody memorize that dua? Let me get my wallet out, 100 pounds. Anybody memorize that dua? 100 pounds. You ain't do no work, cuz. Son, you didn't do no work. I left my wallet. 100 pounds I borrowed from someone. Anybody memorize that dua? I'm going to tell you something. I'm not putting you down. We're all together in the same boat. I would advise you guys, go back and learn this dua, man. Go back. You're not going to find a dua like this in all of the sunnah. Say, I seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah, the kalimat at-tamat. We mentioned the kalimat of Allah, al-kawniyya, kun. Say, I seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah, from all the perfect words that no religious person or irreligious person can bypass. No person, no matter how much deen you have or how much deen you don't have, you're not going to get by the kalimat of Allah al-kawniyya, what Allah decreed. When Allah says live, you live. When He says die, you die. If Allah doesn't write for you, it's not going to happen. Ma sha'Allah kan, wa ma lam yasha lam yakun. What Allah decree is going to happen, whether you're religious or irreligious. Allah told Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Innaka la tahdi man ahbabta, walakin Allah yahdi man yasha." You, Muhammad, you can't guide who you want to guide. You didn't guide your grandfather. You didn't guide your uncle. You didn't guide all of Quraysh. You didn't guide them. Allah's kalimat al-kawniyya. Allah yahdi man yasha. I don't care who you are. Religious, irreligious. I want to ask you as a community, because some of us have this inferiority complex. We scared of Trump and the Republicans and the Labour. If Trump and the Republicans and Labour of the UK decided to do something to get against Islam, can they stop Islam? La wallahi. If all of the jinn, he told Abdullah bin Abbas, who was behind him, yeah, young man, if all of the humans and all of the jinn came together to benefit you or to hurt you with something that Allah didn't write for you, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But if Allah is against you, And everybody else is Allah. If Allah is with you and everybody else against you, is a problem. That's why I want to ask you, I want to say to you brothers who are trying to be on the sunnah, do not allow these brothers of ghulu and shiddah, these hardcore brothers who want to put pressure on you. You better be against him. You better be against him. Don't let him come to this masjid. Because if you're with them trying to please them and Allah is against that, you're in trouble, man. Try to be a person who is sincere to Allah. Call it the way you see it, to the best of your ability. So anyway, let me share this dua with you and we're going to explain this dua. Tremendous dua. I seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah. The kalimatullah tamat. Perfect words. Allah's words have two categories. The kalimat of Allah, al-kawniyah, that when he says kun, and it becomes. He said that to Adam. He said that to Isa ibn Maryam. Yawm al-Qiyamah, he's going to say be, and it's going to happen. When Allah says that, his kalimat al-kawniyah, his universal words, it's going to happen. The other types of words of Allah are his words from the deen. His kalimat shar'iyah, from the deen, sharia. Shar'iyah, I say you say it. Kalimatun shar'iyah. Kalimatun shar'iyah. Akhi, shar'iyah is from what word? Sharia. His religious words. This halal, this haram, this is a, those from Allah's kalimat in the Quran. Don't drink khamr, don't do this, don't do riba, gotta make salat, don't do that, birru walidain. Those is kalimat. They are complete. Allah said in the Quran, وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَاتُ رَبِّكَ صِدْقًا عَدْلًا صِدْقًا وَعَدْلًا لَا مُبَدِّلْ لِكَلِمَاتِهِ. Allah's words are established in truthfulness and in justice. So when he allows a man to have more than one wife, that's justice. When you talk with adil. Don't talk with ignorance. The Muslim woman say, I wish I had two husbands. What? What did you just say? Don't say something like that. I wish I had two husbands. Because that's not from al-adl and sidq. So all of what Allah mentioned in the Quran, fasting Ramadan, making hajj, praying 5 times a day, all of that. Well, you're going to have a problem with what Allah has mentioned. All of his words, Sharia, Kawniyah, are perfect. So Prophet Muhammad was told, seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah, which is a dalil that Allah's words are not created. The Quran is not created. You can seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah, the Quran, against ayn, against sihr, against poverty, all of that. And that's why he had a lot of dua. Now I got to get on because we have a lot to talk about. But I want to mention this. From what he used to say, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, a tremendous dua, ikhwani. A'udhu bi kalimatillahi tamma min sharri ma khalaqa. There's a companion, her name is Khawla bint Hakim. Anybody know a lady named Khawla here? It's a nice name, Khawla. Khawla, the daughter of Hakim. She said, I heard the Prophet say, any Muslim who comes and he sits down in a place, in the masjid, in his job, and he says, A'udhu bi kalimatillahi at-tamma, no evil will touch him until he leaves. Who said that hadith here? That hadith is a divine protection. He goes to the restaurant, he goes here, he goes there. He says, A'udhu billahi, a'udhu bi kalimatillahi tamma min sharri ma khalaqa. Nothing will harm him. Person doesn't mention it. Listen to this. He said another dua, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, teaching us. He would take Al-Hasan and Hussein, and he would say to them, U'idhukuma bi kalimatillahi tamma min kulli shaytanin wa hamma wa min kulli aynin lamma. He would take Hassan and Hussein and say, I seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah for you two from every shaitan who has evil eye, and from every poisonous rodent or reptile, and from anything that can harm you. And then he would say, My father Ibrahim used to say that for Ismail and Ishaq. Who said that for his children? Who said that for his children? The Nabi would seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah in many ahadith. But let's go on. I seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah that no religious person or irreligious person can go beyond. I seek refuge in him min sharri ma khalaqa wa dhara'a wa bara'a. I seek refuge in him from the evil of what he created, what he sent out, and what he put on the earth. If the Prophet stopped right there, he sought refuge in Allah for everything. If he stopped right there. I seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah from the evil of what he created. Rubal is from what Allah created. He has evil in him. Abu Usamah has evil in him. He has evil. This masjid is from the creator. It has some evil in it. This country, this street, your car, everything, this ayah right here. I seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah. Min sharri ma khalaqa wa dhara'a wa bara'a. If he stopped there, everything is done. But he went on. He went on. Before I go on, I have to make mention of this. This khalaqa and bara'a. Two of Allah's names come from khalaqa and bara'a. Al-Khaliq and Al-Bari. How many of you heard of Al-Bari? Al-Bari. Anybody know anybody? Abdul Bari? It's one of Allah's names. Al-Bari. But for your information, I'm going to share this with you. How many of you heard of Abdul Khaliq? Al-Khaliq. Now listen. There are certain words in Al-Islam, if they are mentioned by themselves in the ayah or the hadith, that word means the other word, like Al-Iman. Like if Allah mentions the word Iman by itself in an ayah or a hadith, it means Islam and Iman. But if both of them come in the ayah or the hadith, they have different meanings. If they come together. There are a lot of words like that. Like al-birr and al-taqwa. وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى comes in one ayah. So al-birr means one thing and al-taqwa means another thing. But if you just have a taqwa by itself, it means birr. If you have al-birr by itself, it means a taqwa. This is one of those words. Al-Khaliq and Al-Bari. They mean the same thing and they are synonyms if they're mentioned by themselves. But if they come together, they have two different meanings. This is important because if you ask the average Muslim in this masjid, what is the difference between Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim? Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. They both come from Ar-Rahmah. That's an ayat and 113 ayat surahs of the Quran. What is the difference between Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim? Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. Most people don't know. Ar-Rahman, Allah's rahmah touches everybody. Kafir, Muslim, animal, jinn, everybody. The grateful one, not grateful. Ar-Rahim, his rahmah is only for the believers, Yawm al-Qiyamah. He won't have rahmah for you if you disbelieve, Yawm al-Qiyamah. No matter who you are, no matter who you're connected to. Al-Khaliq al-Bari. Allah mentioned in the Quran, هو الله الخالق الباري المصور له الأسماء الحسنى. Surah Al-Hashr. Allah is Al-Khaliq and He is Al-Bari. So they have two different meanings, like in this hadith. Al-Khaliq means Allah is the one who created and made the prototype. Allah made the prototype. He made the taqdeer. Allah came up with the idea of Bani Adam. You're going to have a head, going to have two eyes, going to breathe out his nose, the way we are. That's Al-Khaliq. Allah created the prototype, the idea. Al-Bari is He's the one who brought it out and created it. Created me the way you see me. Created you the way I see you. That's Al-Bari. He brought it out. He took it off of the blueprint that was with Him and made you. So for all of the billions of human beings, from the beginning of time to the end of time, there are hundreds of billions of people. Not no two are alike. That's al-Bari. Al-Musawwir. Made you tall, made you fat, made you skinny, made you this, made you. So I seek refuge in the evil of what Allah created, the prototype. I seek refuge in what He dhara'a, spread in the earth. I seek refuge in what He bara'a, what He brought forth. Now, let's move on. And I'm going to speed this up. He went on to add, I seek refuge in the evil of Allah from everything that comes from the heavens and everything that goes up into the heavens. And I seek refuge in Allah from the evil of what He spread forth in the earth and what goes up to the heavens from the earth. And I seek refuge in Allah from the fitan, the evil of the fitna of the night and the day. We're in the daytime right now. There's a lot of fitna. Soon as Maghrib comes, there's a lot of fitna. Rasulullah used to close the doors at Maghrib time. And he told us, close the door at Maghrib because the shayateen, they spread out at that time. Anybody here work at nighttime? Anybody work at nighttime? You don't want to work at nighttime. Is it haram? No. But there's fitan in the nighttime. This hadith said, I seek refuge in Allah from the fitan of the night and the day. And I seek refuge in Allah from every tariq. Tariq. وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ وَمَا الطَّارِقِ. A tariq is someone who comes and knocks at the nighttime. It's called Surah al-Tariq because it's a star that comes and the Arabs used to see it. So the Arabs use that word. A tariq is the one who comes and knocks on your door at nighttime. And usually the one who's knocking at nighttime, he doesn't have good news. Your boy is in the police arrested him today. He was drunk. He stabbed someone. He killed someone. He was killed. There was a car accident. He said, I seek refuge in Allah from every knock at night, except the knocker that brings good news. And then he said, Ya Rahman. And he finished the dua. Let's go and let's explain this dua. I seek refuge in Allah from all of the evil that comes out of the sky. What is the evil that comes out of the sky, Ikhwani? I can sit here and say, you give me one, you give me one, you give me one, and we won't be able to exhaust them all. We don't even think about many of them. Like, for an example, the rain, and it doesn't have to be a torrential rainstorm. In our masjid and Masjid Leeds, whenever it rains, we combine between Dhuhr and Asr, Maghrib and Isha, following the Sunnah. The companion said it would rain, and the mu'adhin, when he came to Hayya ala salat, he wouldn't say that. He would say, Sallu fi buyutikum, pray in your homes, pray in your, don't come out. They said the rain would just be a drizzle, just enough to make the bottom of your shoe wet. It doesn't have to be a torrential rainstorm. Why? Because my man here, he has a 2023 Audi. My man here, he has a Bentley 2022. My man over here, Rubel, he has a 1975 Volkswagen. The wheels are messed up. The brakes are not working. So when he puts on it didn't even pass MOT. We're going to tell him, man, don't drive that car, man. You're going to get arrested. But he did it anyway. Is his car like their cars? It's not the same. And Islam doesn't judge us by him and him. It judges us by him, the weakest one from amongst us. If we all went to Mecca or Medina for Umrah, all of us, someone's going to be the Emir. We're going to base the ability of the group upon the women and the children. We're not going to base the ability of the group on the strong ones. The strong ones say, oh, we just arrived. I could go do Umrah. Don't do Umrah yet. We have elderly people here. We have women here. You know, I drive with my kids. I drive on the motorway from Leeds to London. And my kids keep saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we? I say, if you say you there yet one more time, it's going to be a problem. Fire in a hole. One more time, it's going to be a problem. One more, because they get in my central nervous system. Are we? But that's, if one of them says, I gotta go to the toilet. I have to stop. The Arabs say, as-saghir huwa al-amir. As-saghir huwa al-amir. Now, if I was with you guys, hey, let's pull over. I say, man, hold that, man. Hold up on that. We got another 30, 40 minutes. Hold up on that. But with the kid, you better pull over. Because we're going to base it on the weakest link from amongst us. And that's what the imam has to understand. Don't get up here and give a khutbah that people can't relate to. Talking in Urdu, talking in Somali, talking a language we can't understand. Our shabab don't know what you talking about, man. Got to be able to read the room. What you dealing with here? What are you dealing with? Those elders who preceded us to Islam. I'm not going to talk to them as if they're nothing. What's wrong with you? So anyway, in this issue, listen. I seek refuge in Allah from the evil that comes from the sky. The jinn who came from the skies. The mountains, they came from all over against the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In Turkey a few months ago, did you guys see those buildings falling? Did you see those buildings falling? Who's to say this building won't fall on you? Who's to say that? I just came back from New York, Brooklyn, New York. They were doing active construction buildings all over the place. Who's to say something won't fall on my head from the building, from the scaffolding? Who's to say the building won't fall on you in Pakistan? In Pakistan, Mirpur, Somalia, where we come from. We don't have to worry about this. But who's to say a falcon or an eagle won't come and pick your baby up and fly off? I saw eagles like the Mirpur eagles. The falcon from Mirpur, I saw him pick up a lamb and drop him against the mountains. I saw that with my own eyes. That's the way he killed he go pick up the baby and drop him on a mountain to knock him out, then go eat him. We don't have to worry about that, but they have to worry about that. The fog comes from the sky. Person is driving on a motorway to work. I seek refuge in you from what comes from the sky. Who told you that a wheel from an airplane won't disconnect from the airplane and fall on us? Or the airplane? But when the person is living, as Allah told us not to live, where you feel safe and comfortable, Allah asks the question, Afa aminu makr Allah? Are they peaceful about Allah's plan and plot? وَلَا يَأْمِن فَلَا يَأْمِن مَكْرُ اللَّهِ لِلْقَوْمِ الْخَاسِرُونَ. No one is feeling like that except someone who's a loser. At any time you can die, brother. Anytime. You can eat and choke on your spit, drink water, cross the street, get hit by a car. Death is closer to you than what you think. So the Nabi said, I seek refuge in all evil that come from the sky. You know what else come from the sky? Acid rain. You guys know what acid rain is. It's from the pollution, brother, of how Beni Adam is messing up the world. That comes from the sky. It's that pollution that we're eating and drinking on a daily basis. And this is not no conspiracy theory. This is real stuff that we're eating out of these stores that's killing us. The rays from the sun that give you cancer. Give you cancer, skin cancer. And you could keep going on and on and on and on. And then he said, I seek refuge in Allah from everything that goes up into the sky. I want to ask you now, what goes up into the sky? Someone give me an example. What goes up into the sky that we should be worried about? What goes up? Huh? What?
The soul.
What?
The soul.
The soul.
The soul.
The soul. It could be the soul, but I'll give you one even before that. Allah mentioned in the Quran, إِلَيْهِ يَسْعَدُ الْكَلِمُ الطَّيِّبُ وَالْعَمَلُ الصَّالِحُ يَرْفَعُهُ. To Allah goes up the good word, and the actions that are good go up to Allah. On Mondays and Thursdays, our actions go up to Allah. People who you oppress make dua against you. Your mother and your father make dua against you. You owe that man money, you still owe him money after all these years. and he's making dua against you. He's making dua against you. And that dua that goes up to Allah, even the kuffar. The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the dua of the oppressed is answered, even if he's a kafir or a fasiq. Doesn't have to be a mu'min, muttaqi. That's what goes up into the sky. From the many things that go up into the sky. Things that we don't even think about. I want to ask, how many of you owe other people money? No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. If you owe somebody money, give the man his money back. You shouldn't make umrah. You shouldn't make hajj. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would not pray over two people. One person is the one who killed himself and the one who owed money. He wouldn't pray over those two people. Prayed over everyone else. Zina, gambling, khamr, murder. He didn't pray over the one who owes money. And we're living in a society now, everybody owes money. Everybody here. I owe money. I owe the council tax. And I'm going to tell them in public, I don't know where they're going to get it from. I'm telling them in public, I don't know where you're getting it from. And I don't have anything the bailiffs can take. If I let them into the door, I let them in. What they're going to take? I don't have anything. But I'm not talking about that kind. I'm talking about people who they borrowed you money, man, with good faith, and you're not paying them. So the Prophet ﷺ sought refuge in that. I seek refuge in Allah in the evil of the earth, what you have put and spread out in the earth. Allah said about the earth, ظهر في البر والبحر ظهر الفساد في البر والبحر بما كسبت أيدي الناس. That's an ayat of the Quran. There's a lot of fasad that has spread out on the earth and in the water, because of what the hands of mankind has put forth. All kind of evil. All kinds of evil. Our children, us, our community, the masjid, back home, here, everybody here, everybody. Fitna, drama. What our children are doing, some of the Muslims in this city, ظهر fasad, al-fasad, a lot of fitna and fasad. Rasulullah sought refuge in all of that. I went to America, as I mentioned a few days ago, in Brooklyn, New York. You know, there are a lot of crazy people in Brooklyn, a lot of crazy people in New York. There was an African-American man. It's as if we don't have enough to worry about from the police. I seek refuge in Allah from the evil of the police that kill my people back in America. A paramilitary group of people who have been unleashed, killing me and my people, my daughter, my sons, my mother, my father, because we're black. This dua is applicable. But anyway, back in New York, there was an African-American man in the subway. Crazy, Majnoon. He started acting up. There was an ex-Marine. He grabbed him, fell on the floor, put him in a chokehold, and choked him to death. Did you guys hear about that? You heard about that? After that, in Detroit, Michigan, a guy went into the store, started arguing with the guy at the store. He didn't want it. The guy in the store locked the door. And in the door, inside the store, 3 people along with the guy arguing. They have nothing to do with him. He has nothing to do with he took and he shot those people inside the store. And it's going to continue to happen in America where the where guns are. That people go to the post office and shoot people. Who told you that someone with schizophrenia won't kill you, won't stab you? In Birmingham, we had an elderly brother. His name was Ammu Salim, Sheikh Salim. He was in his 90s. Came to the masjid 5 times a day. A racist far-right guy from Lithuania stabbed him coming to the masjid. 23-inch knife. Went through his back, came out, and his sheikh fell dead going to the masjid. Who told you that's not going to happen to you? Who told you that? Who told you that? Driving these cars. There are people who are driving who shouldn't be driving. They shouldn't be driving. He stole a car. She doesn't know how to drive. They don't see well. You can be the recipient of getting run over by a car. My 4-year-old kid, the love of my life, he's in a madrasa, 4 years old. His madrasa mate, a girl, ran out across the street, run over by a car and killed. Who said that can't happen to you? Who said that? Who told you that? أَفَأَمِنُوا مَكْرَ اللَّهِ? Are they secure that nothing's going to happen to them? Are they walking around because the thobe is nice, he took a shower, he ate, he left his house, everything is okay? Who told you that? Who promised you that? That the next meal that you eat, you're not going to choke on the bone. La samahallah. Who told you that? This dua protects from all of that. I seek refuge in Allah Azza wa Jal from what is placed in the earth, and there's a lot of evil. LGBT is placed in the earth. In Somalia, in Sudan, we have a brother who's from Sudan. You know, when the Sudani makes this dua right now, I seek refuge from what comes down from the sky and what goes up. To him, that can mean a bullet, a stray bullet, depending upon where you are in the world. Palestine, because the sky is the limit. What does it mean? It means a lot. I seek refuge in what you spread in the earth and what goes out from the earth, and I seek refuge from the evil of the night and the day. The nighttime and the daytime have been mentioned in many ayat of the Quran. Now is not the time to get into what Allah mentioned about both of them, but usually there's more evil and fitna and fasad in the nighttime. And this is why we have to be on top of our women going out at night. Nothing in the religion said they can't go out after Maghrib. Nothing in the religion. But because there's more evil out there, close the door, because the shayateen, the windows, they are spreading at this time. This is the time that the evil, this is their time right now. So if the young man wants to go hang out with his friends and his mother, his father say, no, I don't want you to go. They have a religious reason, because there's a lot of evil out there during the nighttime. The fitan of the layl and the nahar. And from the fitan of the layl and the nahar is again from what we see with the Muslim girl who's doing TikTok videos, dancing and showing her mahasin. It's all kind of stuff. I'm a father. I am a father. And this is a new generation. And with this generation, it's not easy to keep up with what our children are doing. It's not easy. I seek refuge in Allah from the fitna of the nahar and the layl. His wife has someone she sees. The husband has someone that he sees. All of that stuff. I mean, it's just too much to say. But one of the fitna of the layl and nahar is the fitna of the dajjal that I got to mention, that the Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, inna min ashrat as-sa'a an la yudhkar ad-dajjal ala al-manabir. From the signs of Yawm al-Qiyam is that the imams won't warn the people about the dajjal, and he deserves to be warned about. And then he said, I seek refuge in Allah from every tariq. Someone knocks on my door, calls me at nighttime, except the one who does it with good. Someone brings you good news. Your wife had a baby. The visa has been accepted. They bought the ticket. Your Hajj visa's here. You're going to go to Hajj. It's okay. Somebody tell you that in the nighttime, no problem. But a lot of the news that comes at nighttime is a problem. It's a problem. No one's going to come to your door and knock on your door at 3 a.m. in the morning, except you already know there's a problem. There's a problem. Or he wouldn't be here right now. He would have waited until the morning. From that fitan is the dajjal. And then at the end he said, Ya Rahman. Ya Rahman. Why didn't he say Ya Allah? Ya Latif. Ya Salam. Some of the scholars of Islam say he said Ya Rahman because the greatest name of Allah is Allah. Ismullah al-Azam, scholars said is Allah. And then his second greatest name is Ar-Rahman. Bismillah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا قُلُ ادْعُوا اللَّهَ أَوْ ادْعُوا الرَّحْمَنَ أَيًّمَّا تَدْعُوا فَلَهُ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى. Allah mentioned all of those ayat where he's calling him Ar-Rahman. Rasulullah made an agreement with the kuffar. He said, this is a contract between Muhammad Rasulullah. He said, right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, and them, they said, who is this ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? We don't believe in that. They had a problem with that name. Ar-Rahman, as the Prophet said, Inna ahabb al-asma'i ilallahi Abdullahi wa Abdurrahman. The best, most beloved name to Allah, Abdullah, and what? Abdurrahman. So he said in this ayah or this hadith, Ya Rahman. In concluding, Ikhwani, you can find this hadith in the Fortress of the Muslim. Hisnul Muslim, you can find it. Chapter 128. And the way he mentioned it, he said, the dua that foils the plot of shaitan. The dua that foils the plot of shaitan from the ins and the jinn. You got to go back. 128. 120. Now, there are a lot of other ahadith similar to this, but none of them ashmal like this. Ajma'. When Prophet Muhammad would travel and come into a new city, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would say, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min shururihim wa aj'aluka fi nuhurihim. Oh Allah, these people, I'm afraid of them. I seek refuge in you from their evil, and I put you in their necks. I'm using you to deal with them. The hadith that we dealt with today is better than that. So you include that along with this. And Allah knows best. Okay.